We are live.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll give it a minute. Let folks kind of trickle in here, and then I'll hand it over to Katie to kind of kick everything off. But I'm Nate. You've probably seen me before. I help lead ecosystem. But we've got a cool panel today to kick off the Harvest Moon initiatives. We've got the team from both StellaSwap as well as Moonwell here to talk about kind of what they've been up to, collaborations, all that fun stuff. So, Katie, I don't know if you want to wait another minute or if you just want to get right into it, but I'll hand it over to you.
Oh, sure. Let's get going. I think we have a lot of content to cover today, so my part should be brief. So for those of you who are familiar with Moonbeam and follow us on Twitter, you've probably seen that we just announced something called Harvest Moon. And so I just wanted to give a brief introduction of what the program is and what the goals of the program are before, of course, handing it over to two of the teams that are included. So Harvest Moon is a liquidity program and overall campaign run by Moonbeam as part of the Moonbeam Foundation. So the Moonbeam Foundation has added basically liquidity through grants to help incentivize DeFi activity and boost some of the really incredible DeFi protocols that are building on Moonbeam. So of course, we have two of our top native teams with us today. That's StellaSwap, which is an AMM, and Moonwell, which is a lending and borrowing protocol that has been launching quite literally as we speak for the last kind of 24 hours. And so those are two teams that you'll hear from today. Other projects that are also top projects on Moonbeam and part of the campaign include Lido, which is liquid staking, and Curve, which is stable pools. So these are very much DeFi protocols that we're proud to have on the Moonbeam platform and proud to work with as they really get launched in what can otherwise be a really, really tough market to launch in. And so we're very excited for this. But there's a second component to this campaign, and that's to introduce what the future of Moonbeam will look like. So for us, this is something we've been calling cross-chain connected smart contracts or cross-chain connected applications. And so what that means is we're looking toward a very near future where applications no longer have to sit upon one blockchain, right? They can interact with multiple blockchains. They can interact with assets across multiple blockchains without having to move them, without having to bridge them, without having, a lot of the kind of painstaking issues that we've seen pop up, not only from a security perspective, but from a user experience perspective. And so we'll share more on this in kind of the days and weeks to come. And we do have announcements on the way in this vein as well, for some of the projects we've been working with closely on this. But this is where we see kind of the next great wave of blockchain applications happening, is in this world where we've moved away from, there's one application on chain A, one application on chain B, and instead it's a unified application that can interact with many blockchains in many different ways. So there's a lot coming. That's kind of a two-parter announcement. I'll hand it over to these guys and back to you, Nate, because I think seeing is believing, and we've got some really great projects already building. So I'll let them do all the talking for today.
Beauty. Well, thanks, Katie. You can certainly stay up, or you can drop out, however you want to do it. But thanks for kicking it off, and we are super excited to kind of get things rolling with the Harvest Moon initiative. I mean, there's it's been kind of a long time in planning, and a lot of nights, weekends work to kind of get all the pieces in place. And so, I'd love to start off by congratulating you, Luke. You guys going live yesterday and over last night. I can tell you've got some nice bags coming in under your eyes. I don't think you've slept in weeks, but really, congrats. You guys have been working tirelessly to kind of get Moonwell out the door on Moonbeam, and it's great to see that you guys kind of got it done. How'd the launch go? Talk about it. Tell us how everything kind of went, and any alpha for teams that are looking to kind of do similar initiatives to get protocols launched on Moonbeam.
Thanks, Nate. It's been a really great experience launching in the last, I guess we've been going through this launch sequence about
48 or 72 hours now. And so it's been a blur, but it's been really exciting. You know, this is sort of the culmination of months of planning because we had launched back in February on Moon River. So that experience actually helped us learn quite a bit. You know, we kind of learned, you know, all the steps we have to do to kind of like launch the protocol. For example, just things like activating lending and borrowing first on the protocol, and then allowing people an opportunity to supply their assets and borrow before enabling the Harvest Moon rewards. We want to make it fair for people so that, you know, people don't learn of the announcement early. They have a chance to, you know, everyone has a chance to experience Harvest Moon, which is great. It's been really fantastic working with all the various partners all the various teams in Moonbeam. So for example, Aziz and his team here at StellaSwap have been amazing. You know, we've actually been partnering with them for the last several weeks, even prior to our launch, because we wanted to make sure that everything was ready for Harvest Moon to begin. And that included building up liquidity on the dexes. So of course, for lending and borrowing to be really efficient, we want to have good DEX liquidity because they kind of go hand in hand together. And really, you know, it's been great partnering with Aziz and the StellaSwap team and a bunch of other builders. For example, the Nomad team is building a new optimistic interoperability bridge into Moonbeam. They've been a great partner as well. They're bringing new levels of security to bridges. And so they're bringing, you know, the assets like USD Coin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum from mainnet Ethereum. So that's been fantastic. And then there's a whole bunch of other partners in the space, like Chainlink, for example, that we've been working with. Chainlink provides the price feeds that bring price data for all the prices to our lending protocol, and that's really important that we have accurate price data. So again, it's just been pretty phenomenal having all these great builders in the Moonbeam ecosystem that we can partner with, because it really is like this giant interconnected web of DeFi protocols. And you know, people call them like money Legos, right? We all kind of stack on top of each other, but really it's the composable nature of DeFi that makes the ecosystem work. One protocol can't just stand on its own. We have to kind of, you know, integrate and interoperate with all these other protocols. So that's actually why a big part of the, you know, the Moonbeam story resonates, right? The cross-chain, cross-consensus messaging and cross-application messaging. So anyways, it's been fun.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we, you know, we on the team, the Pure Stake team on, you know, the BD side, who generally are working with teams. I think one of the themes we try and really talk a lot about and try and you know, enact is this ecosystem of collaboration. You know, we feel strongly that, you know, obviously there are folks who compete with each other in terms of mind share and things along those lines. But at the end of the day, I think we see the ecosystem growing to a point where there can just be a ton of different teams doing similar but different, have different value props, have their own ecosystems. And so we always, you know, want to try and make sure teams are collaborating pretty well. And so that leads me to, you know, Aziz, you guys have been live for coming up on what, 5 months? You guys were early launching on Moonbeam. What drew you guys to Moonbeam? I don't think I've ever actually asked you guys kind of what drove you to come build on Moonbeam.
Great question, Nate. Pleasure to be here. So we were all, I mean, when Dr. Gavin Woods came up with the white paper for Polkadot back at the end of 2016, right? So we all was sort of like, as in me and, you know, the other co-founders of StellaSwap, we were already like, you know, wow, and, you know, awaiting for it, you know, 5 long years later, right? It's at the point, you know, because all of us came from a centralized exchange background. We were one of the regulated cryptocurrency exchange in the Middle East. I was one of the co-founders, right? And we have built a great team. We were there for a few years, you know, and there was a lot of limitations in terms. I mean, we're all DeFi degens, right? So we were all concentrated on sort of like building and trying to sort of like push stuff out, right? Because we want to create value. Right. And therefore, at that point, you know, it felt like, you know what, we want to explore building on DeFi because that's where innovation is, right? And the novelty of certain structures that simply didn't exist in the centralized landscape. So so we formed StellaSwap. And one of the first things that we wanted to sort of like select was obviously the chain to build on, right? And coincidentally, the first parachain crowd loan, as in the first crowd loan occurred for Polkadot, and Moonbeam obviously was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, parachain there. Obviously, EVM compatibility is something that we completely 100% align on, because obviously Ethereum is one of the biggest dev community, and porting applications and codes to an EVM parachain makes a lot of sense, right, for adoption and traction. And then we sort of like reached out and to see how we can explore, and the rest is history, right? So we've been building since then. Gotcha.
Very cool. And so back to Luke. I want to make sure I highlight. You had a really good Twitter thread that kind of went out. I think, was it yesterday or the day before, around kind of now's the time for like builders to build. I mean, the market is the market. Nothing you can really do to kind of change that. But like, I do want to give you a little bit to talk about kind of that thread. I was really impressed by it, because I think launching DeFi protocols right now, some might say like, why? Well, like, why do it? Why not wait? And so I really everything you put in that thread really resonated with us, because I think like we started building Moonbeam in the bear, and kind of back in a bear. And so I just wanted to give you props around that, and give you a little bit of time to talk about why you guys wanted to launch now.
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think for those of us that have been in crypto for a few years now, we know it kind of goes through these cycles, these ups and downs, these bull and bear cycles. And I mean, I remember when I first made crypto full time, that was back in 2018, my full time job, and we just had gone into a bear market. And then 2019 was, there was almost no crypto activity happening. And a lot of people in 2019 actually left crypto and went to other tech jobs, and just, kind of thought crypto was dead. But for those of us that were building in this space, it was actually a really fun time to build, because there was no constant checking price of different crypto coins. Like, we were just focused on building cool technology and, building a better financial ecosystem, a new financial system. And so it was really exciting. And, just building during a bear market can be a lot of fun for people that like to build and people that are into the tech. And so, we kind of, after you go through a few of these cycles, you kind of realize that, the bull markets, while they can be fun, are kind of distracting, because there's so much hype, and there's so many like projects launching every day, that your project can kind of get lost in the noise. But in a bear market, actually, it's kind of fascinating how a quality project can launch in a bear market and actually do pretty well, because there's not so much, there's not so much flashy projects that are less substance and more style, and so I think it really it kind of shifts the balance back to the builders a little bit, and less to the like the fundraisers and the money people, which is great for like technologists, that people that are hackers that like to build. And I think also, if you look at past bear cycles, so I don't know if you remember last summer, but last summer the price of Bitcoin and everything crashed really hard in like May, and then we had sort of this like nice the market kind of came back in the late summer, and there's a lot of DeFi activity happening. So I think it's really hard to predict where we're going to be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, even a year from now. But we're actually thinking more on the multi-year time frame. And if you're on a multi-year time frame and you're building towards a future that you want to see in like 2024 or 2025, the ups and downs of like the quarters and months and weeks don't really matter that much, right?
Yeah, agreed. I think, in the good times, I think the opportunists kind of show up and try and launch things, because money is flowing and free, basically. And, you see a lot of, forks. And, so that's, I am also very encouraged when the bear hits, things seem to get washed out. And I think the real builders who are here for the long term and are looking to build things that are sustainable and kind of long-term focused are the ones that are going to be ultimately the winners. And so it's kind of just a practical reality of the market, and it's kind of a needed reality in some ways to kind of cool it off a little bit, so that the things that can really have substance can kind of survive. And I think I saw someone describe it as kind of like burning the underbrush, in a forest kind of thing. The amount of things that sprout from that are really the winners, if you will. So Aziz, obviously Katie described you guys as an AMM. I think you guys have grander plans to be doing a whole lot more. I want to give you at least a little bit to talk about it. We'll do demos in a couple minutes, but other things that you guys are looking to be building over the coming years, in the coming months, give us a sense of some of the things that kind of get you guys excited that you can continue to build on Stella.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. So so we're really excited to sort of like build. We're scaling our team obviously to get more quality engineers and devs to help us build across our vision. But generally, what we want to be, our vision is basically like a Schelling point across Polkadot, right? Given XCM is enabled, so that's a very cool way for parachains to talk to each other, interoperate with each other, and tokens can be sort of like transferred without bridge risk or centralization risk. So with that in mind, as in our product roadmap is really predicated across, as in predicated on three things, right? Number one is improving the overall trade experience for users, right? Since we're a DEX, and we're a hybrid DEX in a sense that we're a standard. We have a standard AMM just like Uniswap, as well as a stable AMM just like Curve, right? So what we've been trying to do right now is basically create a hybrid routing across these two different AMMs, so that we could have a very efficient trade routing across both AMMs. Without any crazy, like above average slippages or inefficient trade routing. So that has been something that we've been working on, and hopefully it's gonna launch in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks max, right? So we fully focus on that. So that's number one, right? Because since we're a DEX, we need to focus on trade efficiency to reduce slippage, to ensure we operate as a trading platform efficiently, right? Second is basically creating a great user DeFi experience, right? DeFi has often been associated with complexity. So what we want to do is basically abstract the complexity to make it very very user friendly, basically streamline and deconstructing the user process. So, and part of these things is making it easier, right? So I'm going to show you on the demo later to see how we've sort of like tweaked a few stuff, the user journey, to make it very intuitive for the users. So I think what's important is also to sort of like create protocol stickiness, especially at this nascent stage, right? Where you have to build innovative products on top of one another, right? Like the Lego bricks composability. So for example, we've launched in the past week we've launched with Chidao, basically collateralized borrowing with their stable coin, right? So you can basically lock up or stake Glamour, Wrap Glamour, or X Stella, which is our basically a revenue sharing token, where you can stake them and then collateralize that, and then mint and then you can supercharge your yield farming. So those are the levels of DeFi, as in strategies or products that sort of like we want to build for users, right? Because that gives more utility in the protocol and within the ecosystem, the greater ecosystem, so that there's much more fun things to do. You talk about XM being live, the premise of NFTs being minted and sort of like distributed across other parachains. That's a future that sort of like we're trying to as in work towards. So other things that we're also excited to share is basically in the short to medium term is liquid staking for Glamour. I think that's going to be a huge hit to basically compose or unlock the potential of Glamour, which is locked for collator staking, to allow users to sort of like yield farm on top of that. So that is something that we're also very interested to launch after hybrid routing. And then one of the cool things that we've sort of like conceive is basically as a Schelling point, we need to have liquidity. Need to be an anchor liquidity as in protocol right across other parachains. So one of the ways is basically accumulating dot derivatives. There's a lot of dot derivatives across the ecosystem, right? So one of the ways is basically accumulating them into a base pool on our stable AMM. So that's going to be pretty interesting, because obviously people love people love a way to mitigate against impermanent loss. So that is one of the things. So besides that, with those that are in our roadmap, which includes IDO, Launchpad, NFTs, and boosted staking for external holders. So in general, those are the things that we're really excited to build around.
Nice. Nice. Well, you guys certainly. It sounds like you'll be busy. You've got plenty of things to keep working on, which is great. So you touched on XCM, and so Luke, I know the assets that you guys launched with. One of them was DOT. Moving forward, how do you think about kind of potentially listing other assets, or what other assets do you think over the next couple of months you'll be thinking about trying to incorporate?
So we're really excited about the ability that parachains have to sort of teleport assets between parachains and even between the relay chain. It's pretty amazing, and it's one of the best benefits of the Polkadot ecosystem is this ability to mint on Moonbeam and then transfer that asset to any other parachain. So some of the assets that we're really interested in bringing to Moonbeam are AUSD, Akala USD. So Akala USD is a fully collateralized stablecoin on the Akala parachain, and we're really excited about the potential of bringing that as a collateral asset as well, because it'll mean we have another native stablecoin to the Dot Summit ecosystem that's live. We already have Frax, and Frax is an amazing team that's live, and they're a native stablecoin in Moonbeam. But it'll be great to have you in more more fully collateralized stablecoins, and that's really awesome. We're looking forward to that. Also, just integrating with other projects like they have done at StellaSwap. But there are some now that we're past our Artemis activation and the protocol's live on Moonbeam. Now we're going to start focusing on our future product features that we're building. So as a co-founder of Lunar Labs, we help build the application you see that interfaces with the Moonwell protocol. And we've been actually working for the last few months on some pretty cool features that are amazing for power users. So for example, we want to give you the ability to, instead of having to repay your loan first before you can borrow more, swap between different collateral types directly, so you don't have to repay and then borrow again. Another feature is to use flash loans from a DEX. So use a flash loan from StellaSwap to repay a leveraged position with just a single transaction, so you don't have to do multiple steps to unwind leverage, and also to create leverage positions using flash loans from a DEX in a more efficient and user-friendly way. So there's a lot of really cool things we can start to do now that we're past launch. We're really excited about the potential for cross-chain or cross-consensus, cross-parachain lending. You can imagine a future where you might be able to have collateral on one parachain and then be able to borrow against it on Moonbeam or something. So there's a whole bunch of applications that cross-consensus messaging enables that we have just begun to scratch the surface of, and it's pretty exciting to see the potential that's out there. Another big focus we've had recently has been on data and analytics. And as we've gotten past, the application works and it's secure and everyone's money is safe and it's working as expected, and especially as we've gotten into this, period of market uncertainty where there are centralized finance lenders that are failing and have insolvent loans on their books, we started looking into data really heavily and looking at our entire book of loans across the Moonwell protocol. And there's over 2,800 loans on Moonwell Apollo on Moonriver today. Several hundred on Moonwell Artemis already. And so we've built some really cool tooling using, if you're familiar with the Graph protocol, they're native on Moonbeam and Moonriver as well, and they have a hosted subgraph service. So we've started exploring building subgraphs of our entire loan portfolio, and we can now look at the credit risk across all the loans and kind of see if we have risky debt positions on the protocol. And so it's really, I think this is sort of the future as protocols evolve beyond just simply, does it work? Can I, deposit and withdraw, or can I supply and borrow? Moving into data and analytics is obvious the next step, and making sure that we have the best quality data that leads to the best economic security. And I think that's what people are really looking for in this market is, the protocols that are going to succeed are the ones that have really good market data and understand the economic situation in the ecosystem they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, data in every data in every sense for any ecosystem, or whether it's sports or whether it's just traditional business. Data drives everything. It should drive every decision, and the more data you can have, I think the more successful you can be. So that's good to hear, certainly. So cool. Well, I think at this point we can just jump into demos and kind of show off kind of what you guys have been building and get folks kind of excited to go check them out. Again, none of this is financial advice, just putting that out there, but want to just make sure you guys have some time to kind of show off. So Aziz, I think you can just go ahead and take control, and I'll mute, and I think we'll probably drop off when you start sharing. I think you're muted, Aziz.
Sorry, can you hear me? All right, so can you see my screen, right? Okay, so basically this is our default swap page. I mean, if you've been in DeFi, you know the typical as in AMM layout, right? It's very straightforward, you know, a place where you can swap between coins in a non-custodial way, right? So if we take the entire user journey, right, is how the first step of depositing your token, right, from other chains, right? And for that, obviously, you need a bridge. So we've integrated our bridge, you know, to make it easier for users to sort of like a bridge across the token in an intuitive way. So you know, if you wanna bridge from Ethereum, you use Nomad, right? And that will be very easy for you to bridge USDC, DAI USDT, WBTC into Moonbeam, into StellaSwap, and then you know from there we have a really cool feature where you know, okay, once you're here, you know you need gas, right? Because gas is in the form of the native token Glamour, and then obviously when you wanna do any transactions, you have to have gas paid by your native token. But since you know if you're bringing over USDC or Ethereum for the first time, you don't have gas, right? So what we have is a cool feature where it's swap for gas, where you know you can sort of like swap a bit of your bridge token into Glamour, you know, gasless, completely gasless, without requiring any Glamour. So that's cool. If it's not supported, what we have is a faucet basically. So this is basically free money. So you can use. We're gonna give you a bit of a Glamour so that you can start your first few transactions, right? And from there, what you can do is basically just you know, trade or you know, farm, right? So at this page where you know you can see a lot of farms available on StellaSwap. So we've obviously highlighted the strategic pairs on top, you know, or those that are newly launched. You know, what we've made it easy, right? For example, is you know we're a hybrid AMM, stable in standard AMM. So we've sort of like combined it on the front end to make it, you know, sort of like agnostic, right? And you can stake in stables, you know, base pool obviously under the stable AMM or other pairs like Glamour USDC, you know. And what we've done is basically one cool stuff is that, you know, at this page, if you want to sort of like add liquidity, right, with your token, all you have to do is click this and you will be transported to the pool page, right, which is here. You know, you don't have to go manually here, right? So we've created that to simplify the user experience. And then from here, you know, with one great thing about stable AMMs is that all you need is one token and you can basically stake into the pool. You don't have to have 4 tokens of equivalent value, right? So you just need one token. You can sort of like stake, and then you can start farming, right? So for standard AMM, you have to have both tokens, right? But one cool thing that we've done is basically Zap. So essentially, you know, you've bought over your USDC, you know, assuming you only have that. But you know, when you want to stake or yield farm, right, you need to add liquidity. On a standard farm, you need to have both tokens, right? So assume you need to have both USDC Glamour, right? With Zap, it really is basically one-click staking, right? So all you have to do is have your USDC in place, and then you can just automatically, it will generate an LP token, which is basically which represents your share of the entire liquidity pool. So that's it, and then you can just stake it into the underlying farm here, and you're good to go, and then you can earn, right? So as in the past 3 weeks, right, what we've done is basically we've integrated a Fiat Gateway transact. So you know, if you want to buy Glamour, right, you know, straight away, or even if you want to buy any other coins, right, with a fiat currency, you can actually do that with your credit card or debit card, right, card payments, right? So this has been very popular amongst users, right, and to you know, to start having coins, by using their card payments. So fees are quite reasonable relatively, and then you can just use your cards, right? And obviously land borrowing, we have this facility which obviously sort of like gets you to Moonwell, which Luke will as in showed the demo on. And beyond that, right, assume you've pooled or staked in any of the farms, right? And the rewards that you earn, you can actually earn, as in you can actually sort of like optimize for it even better, right? But right now we have 2 facilities for you to do that. Xstella and me and my Xstella is basically a revenue sharing, facility where you stake your Stella and you get a cut of the revenue fees, underlying trade fees of our protocol. So basically just a fee redistribution to you guys for you to stake. And we also have a tri pool, where you can stake your Xstella even further to get tri rewards, right? And the last is over collateralized borrowing that we've actually launched in the last few days. So pretty cool. Right now we support W Glamour and Xstella, and you can stake them and generate and then you can stake them in the farms that we have here, which is the B school. So yeah, in general, as in this is we're building out more functionalities and features to streamline the user experience and create more novel and more interactive products.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. I actually hadn't checked out the new My page. I love seeing the collaboration directly on the site, being able to kind of do it quickly versus just sometimes you see these collaboration announcements like, oh, you have to go to a different page and then bring it over. Doing it directly there. That's super cool to see. So awesome. Well, thanks for taking us through that, Aziz. All right, you're already ahead of me, Luke. Go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Aziz. That was an awesome demo. I need to catch up on all your new features. You guys have been shipping an amazing amount of new stuff. It's awesome to see. So happy to demo Moonwell Artemis today. It was just activated yesterday, and so it's kind of exciting to show you, that we're live on Moonbeam. We've been on Moonriver since February, but when you go to moonwell.fi, you can just click Launch App to get right to the app. And then I have a brand new wallet that I've just loaded up with 5 Glimmer, so I can actually kind of demo how to use Moonwell. For those of you that are interested, I can do a quick demo here. So basically, when you see this page, you have all these assets. Right now, we support Moonbeam, Polkadot, Frax. Those are native. And then coming from the Nomad bridge, we have Ethereum, Bitcoin, and USD Coin. So what I'm going to do is I have some Glimmer in my wallet, and I'm just going to go ahead and maybe supply 75% of it. I'm going to deposit Glimmer, and so that'll just pop up my MetaMask here, and I'm going to confirm this transaction. So what you can kind of see happening is that I'm supplying some Glimmer to the market. Now, what this does is I basically have become a lender, and other people can borrow my Glimmer, and the Moonwell Artemis protocol kind of connects lenders and borrowers in a decentralized way. So it's a non-custodial protocol, meaning it's simply I'm supplying my Glimmer, and then others can come and borrow it. And the protocol is what kind of enforces that they'll repay it with interest, and then some of that interest will go to me. And so once I've supplied my Glimmer, then I can go ahead and use it as collateral and borrow against it. So to use it as collateral, I have to just kind of toggle this little collateral button here. So I'm going to click that and then confirm this transaction. And so now once this transaction confirms, I'll be able to go ahead and borrow other assets against it. So I can then go ahead and borrow, USD Coin against it, or Frax against it, and use that in DeFi. I could take it out and maybe pay bills in the real world. I could do whatever I want with it. I could LP it on a DEX, and so a lot of what you'll see is a lot of the liquidity providers on StellaSwap are also liquidity providers on Moonwell, because if I'm holding Glimmer in my wallet or Polkadot or what have you, I might want to borrow, like a stablecoin like Frax against it. So let me just do that. And then I could basically, let me just borrow actually, might need to reload here, but so I can borrow a stablecoin against it, and then I can go ahead and bring it to StellaSwap and, LP it in that 4 pool and, earn a few percent for being a liquidity provider on the automated market maker on the DEX. And so a lot of yeah, a lot of people will simply, borrow a stablecoin against their crypto and then, LP on a DEX, or even borrow other crypto assets. Or, for example, we see on Moonriver, people might borrow Mover to, buy some Moon Summit NFTs or something like that. It's a great game, also a great team, Moon Summit. But yeah, it really just, lending and borrowing kind of enables different use cases that you can do with your crypto. So while that completes, I'm just going to kind of X out of that. It's running in the background, the transaction, but I wanted to show you a couple other things really quickly. So first of all, we have a docs page here. If you just kind of click that at the top, it will take you to our documentation. So please feel free to read that. It's actually, it should, if you read through it for 10 minutes, you'll probably understand exactly how everything works. And then here's where you can claim your Harvest Moon rewards. So for lending and borrowing, you'll start to be able to claim the rewards here after a few hours or a few days. And then we also have a safety module. And so we have not yet activated the Well token rewards. They'll come later today, but once the Well token rewards are activated, you'll be able to stake them in the safety module, and that will help backstop the protocol. And you earn a staking reward for doing that. So another thing that is going to go live later today is there will be there already is actually a Well Glimmer LP pool on StellaSwap, but there will be Harvest Moon rewards there as well. There will be Well token rewards there. So that'll be going live later today. So we're kind of excited, and thank you, Aziz, and your team for helping us set that up. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had to show you. So what I've done, as you can see, is I've kind of borrowed I've supplied some Glimmer, and then I've gone ahead and borrowed some Frax against that, and now the Frax is in my wallet, about 70 cents worth of Frax. So thanks for letting me demo.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate both of you hopping on, showing it off, and helping us really kick off the Harvest Moon initiative that is now off and running. So really appreciate everybody joining today, guys. Thanks again for joining, and I hope everybody learned something new on here, and looks forward to even more collaboration in the ecosystem moving forward. All right. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
It was a lot of fun.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.